The 2011 Economic Summit, which began in Colombo on Monday, ended yesterday. Yesterday's session included a panel discussion involving several politicians. Here, attention was focused on corruption in light of economic development.
There cannot be real growth where the governance structures even tolerate some degree of corruption. There must be, as they say these days, zero tolerance for corruption. We'll never have 100% success in that. That is granted. But that must be the policy.
Corruption is not a new thing in our country. We don't like corruption. Nobody likes corruption. But you know what's happening in India. I mean, this audience must be having satellite TV to look at NDTV TV, what's happening in the scandals there. Do we have the scandals like that here? Please show this massive corruption that is going on. Show some deals up.
Right to information.
Show us the facts and the figures of corruption.
And I think the best way to stop corruption is for people to have information. UNP has tried so many times to bring the Right to Information Act, which this government unfortunately has been somehow, and this is not cheap political talk. And if you don't have information, when there is asymmetry of information, that is when corruption happens. That is when corruption happens.
Infrastructural development. You know, there's a new novel project which I applaud, the concreting of roads. Excellent program. But please look at the costs. When the estimated cost for, say, 500 meters is X amount, an exorbitant estimate is made so that various perks and privileges and payments are made in the name of development, in the guise of development.
I think the collective word for that is corruption.
Yes, of course.
Now, the Air Liquide Group, which is one of the world leaders in providing gases for industry, health and environment, has appointed Sri Lankan national Panchali Sumitharatna as its Director Hydrogen Syngas Operations Control and Commercial. Air Liquide is present in 80 countries with more than 43,600 employees.
Panchali began her career with Air Liquide as an Alex engineer in 2003 and took her first permanent role as the business analyst for hydrogen syngas in 2005. In her previous role as the manager of operations control and energy optimization for hydrogen syngas, Panchali led several successful initiatives such as production cost optimization and energy purchasing. She has been a key contributor in identifying opportunities for hydrogen syngas to improve revenue and operating income. Panchali holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering from the Montana University. Panchali, who was a former employee of the Capital Maharaja organization, served the company as a marketing executive.
An informal discussion was held at the Postgraduate Institute of Management today on the proposed Executive Diploma in Economic Governance. This diploma will be conducted for members of Parliament, nominees of political parties, senior executives from the private sector and prominent civil society or NGO activists. The Executive Diploma in Economic Governance is a collaborative program that is being carried out by the Postgraduate Institute of Management and the School of Public Policy at the George Mason University in Washington, USA. The duration of this diploma program is 9 months. Several members of the government and the opposition were present at today's discussion.
And welcome to the News First International Desk. About 200 people drowned in the Red Sea when a boat carrying migrants to Saudi Arabia sank off Sudan's coast after catching fire.
The boat had set sail from Sudan's Red Sea state about 150 kilometers south of Port Sudan near the border with Eritrea. According to reports, only 3 people have been rescued. A senior official at Sudan's Ministry of Information told the media that he believed that most or all of those on board were Somalis. The official linked the case to the food crisis in the Horn of Africa, which is affecting an estimated 12 million people. 4 Yemenis who allegedly owned the boat that sank in the Red Sea have been arrested in Port Sudan state. The vessel had been at sea for 4 hours before catching fire. It is not known what caused the fire.
President Barack Obama has called Democratic and Republican lawmakers to the White House tomorrow for talks on raising the country's debt ceiling as a deadline for action looms.
Republicans say they refuse to consider raising taxes while Democrats hope to protect favored social programs. It is unclear how close the two sides are to a deal. President Obama said he hoped the White House and U.S. lawmakers would reach an agreement on debt within 2 weeks.
I believe that right now we've got a unique opportunity to do something big, to tackle our deficit in a way that forces our government to live within its means, that puts our economy on a stronger footing for the future, and still allows us to invest in that future.
The U.S. currently runs an estimated $1.5 trillion annual budget deficit and has already exceeded the national debt limit of $14.3 trillion.
Protests in Yemen demanding an end to President Ali Abdullah Saleh's 3-decade rule are continuing to paralyze the country as he clings to power despite an assassination attempt that forced him to seek treatment in Saudi Arabia. Officials had earlier said that Saleh planned to support a Gulf Arab transition plan. The plan has already collapsed several times when the president backed out of signing at the last minute. The US and neighboring Saudi Arabia fear a power vacuum in the impoverished country and have been pushing for an immediate power transfer. A staff worker fell from over a 30-meter height on a mountain in Lushan Forest Park in Zhejiang City, east of China's Shandong province. Luckily, he was saved by professional rescuers. The accident happened on a very steep cliff, which is almost vertical. The rescuers climbed to the opposite of the mountain and discovered the fallen worker in a bush on the cliff, face over 10 meters above the ground. A massive dust storm swept through central Arizona last evening. The wall of dust forced officials to close Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport and severely reduce visibility on road highways. The National Weather Service says the dust was being pushed by 50 to 60 miles per hour winds. Thousands of tourists now make their way each year to Incan ruins of Machu Picchu in Peru, but the famous citadel was rediscovered just 100 years ago. Peru is planning a glorious celebration for the site's 100-year anniversary, culminating in a ceremony at the citadel itself today with performance by the Cusco Symphony Orchestra. Perched on a rocky outcrop at 2,500 meters near the edge of Peru's southern jungle, Machu Picchu was built more than 500 years ago as the capital of the Incan Empire.
A very good evening. Take a look at some action from the world of sports now. We start off with some cricket news. Sri Lanka suffered from a continuous fall of wickets and are now trying to push the score forward against England and are currently taking on the hosts in the 4th One-Day International at Trent Bridge in Nottingham. The visitors already led the series 2-1 in the 5-match series. Let's take a look at the Sri Lankan innings now.
And that's all in this series. Everyone makes out that they've been...
The much-anticipated 4th One-Day International experienced a delayed start owing to a wet outfield at Trent Bridge in Nottingham. England skipper Alistair Cook, who won the toss, invited Sri Lanka to take first lease of the wicket. However, the visitors suffered an early blow when they lost captain Tilakaratne Dilshan, who was scored by Craig